So before we dig into our first project, I would like to go through one final thing in LiveCode because that is really powerful, and that is groups. Because you can group controls, and with that you can create more complex controls out of more simple ones. So first of all, we need a new stack, of course. So I go to the file, new stack. I use the default size at the moment. Now let's say that I would like to create a button, and in that button I would like to have an SVG icon, and I would like to have a label. So okay, I would like an SVG icon, and I would like a label. And now I can resize those to put them kind of in the way I want them to. Maybe this one should be a little bit bigger. And then of course I need to do some kind of settings to this one. So I'll go here and maybe we should name that title, and we should name that icon. And let's go back to this one and go to the font settings here and just increase the size a little bit. Maybe it should be bold and it should be right aligned. So now I have my two parts of what I would like to be a combined button. So what I can do now then is that if I click on one of them and then hold down the shift key and click on the other one, so I get them both selected. Another way is that you can drag select on both of them, and you don't need to kind of enclose them. It just needs that you kind of touch them, so then they are selected. And now it says multiple objects in this one, and this is also one thing that is kind of powerful, because now you can reset stuff for all of them in one go. But anyway, what I would like to do now is that I would like to group them, and you can do that either by clicking this one, or in the object menu you find group selected, or there is also a short command that is Command G if you're on a Mac, or Control G on a Windows machine. But whichever way, doesn't matter. Now when I did that, you see that now I have a frame around both of my controls. So the great thing is that now the property inspector says group. So now this is kind of one control, and this is really good. So now I can rename that. I can set a specific label if I would like to do that, but at the moment I would like to use the label that is within this one. So I will skip that. But what you can do is that you can, for example, say that this one should be opaque. Groups are by default transparent, but it should be just, I don't want the 3D, but I do want the border. Now when it is opaque, I can of course go to the color settings and I can set the background color. Let's use kind of a greenish, maybe a little bit darker color like that maybe. So now you see that I got a darker greenish background. And now one thing that is really nice with groups is that if the individual controls within your group doesn't have any specific settings for the thing that you set here, for example the foreground fill that I will use now, then every control will get that color. So it's kind of in CSS, you know, that the C stands for cascading. So if you set the color for the body, then it will cascade into every control or every element that doesn't have that color or doesn't have a color setting. So now I use the foreground fill, and let's set some kind of I don't know, it could be maybe a little bit like that, almost white but a little bit yellowish like that. Now you see that they both take on that color. So having a group is a really powerful way, because if you are to create a menu, then you can set one setting for the font, for example, and then all your items within your menu group will have that font setting or that color or whatever. So now if I would like to have another, now I have one button, I create that one. I would like to create a copy of this one. Well, in LiveCode, as in a lot of other programs, you can hold down the Alt key on the keyboard and then you can drag to get a copy. So now I have two. But now if I would like to set the icon, for example, to something else on this one, how can I do that? Well, you can do that in two ways. And the first one is to click on the next button here, and it says Edit Group. And when you do that, you go into the group edit mode. So you actually go kind of into the group. So everything else on the screen disappears. So the first time you might do that, you think, oh, hello, what happened? The green color is gone. Every other control is gone. Did something get deleted by default, or what happened? Well, it is now you're in that group. So you just see the controls in that group, and the group background color has gone. Sometimes that might cause a problem, because maybe you have, if I have kind of white color on my stuff here, then of course the background and the foreground will have the same color. But anyway, now I can click on this one, and I can go to the first here, and I can select, let's use an Apple icon for that one. That one didn't change. Why was that? Like that. So, and I can grab the label, and I can go to the text, and I can say iOS, for example, on this one. Like that. Now I have set them. When I'm done, I can click Stop Editing. There is another way to do this, and that is on the next controller. It says Select Grouped. And you see there is a kind of circle with a line over, so it's kind of something that is prohibited to do. And what is it? Well, you are not allowed to select individual controls. But if you click on this one, then that one goes away, and the text actually gets bold. Now I can actually select individual controls, even if they are grouped. So now I can use that one, and I can click on this one, and maybe we should select Android there, and then we should write Android here, like that. And the big advantage with this is that now, as this is a group, I can attach code directly to the group instead of the individual controls, because I want this one to behave like a button. Okay, let's click on this one again, so I can select the group. And now I can right click and edit the script for this one. And now you see that up here it says group ID 1005. And maybe that was not that good. So maybe we should change name on this one. So let's change this to Android like that. And this one will not update until I reopen this one. So if I do like this and then edit again, now it says group Android instead. Okay, so let's add mouse up handler here. It's not part of the suggested stuff here, but you can still edit that one. So I can add on mouse up. This is sent when I click on the control. So at the moment, I just would like to bring up a dialog and say, answer, you clicked on Android. Like that. And then I would like to copy this one. I also would like to apply this one to glue the code onto that group. Now you see that everything that you have added appears here at the top of this one. And if you have a lot of handlers, then you can click on them to select that part of the code, or go to that part of the code. So let's grab this one and change that to iOS. And now we can also edit the script of that one. And let's change this one to iOS, like that. So now I actually used if you have a big keyboard with all the extra keys with the numeric keypad, then you can hit on the enter key to kind of glue the code also. That's a shortcut for this one. If I now run this one, swap the pointer here and click on this one, you see that now it says you clicked on Android, and I click here. And I clicked on iOS, and it doesn't matter where I click on this one. You see that it still says if I click on the label or if I click on the icon, I get the same result because the code is glued to the group. Now, when I have this, I can actually, there's nothing stopping me from doing a group within a group. So I can select both my groups, and then I can create a group out of those two. And then maybe we should name this, I don't know, let's say that this is our navigation, like that. And now there is one final thing about groups that is really important, and that is at the bottom here. It says behave like a background. And a background group is something that can be part of multiple cards. So if I click on this one, now if I go in the object menu and create a new card, now you see that, did anything happen? Yes, it actually created a new card, but what happened was that it actually automatically added the background group to this card. So now if I move this one on this card, and to show this, maybe I should add a label here, and we say that this is card 2, like that. If I now go back to the first card, I can go in the view menu and go first. You see that now they have also moved on the first card. So we have the same controls on multiple cards. And that means that if I were to add some kind of navigation, that it should, when I click on the first, it should go to the Android card, and when I click on iOS, it should go to the iOS card. Well, then I have the code on one place and not on multiple places, because otherwise, if I have them some separated controls on every card, well, then I can of course copy and paste the controls. But then if I need to change the code, well, then I might need to go into maybe hundreds of cards and change them. So instead adding a background group, well, then you have just one control and you can change them in that way. So again, if I would like to grab any of these controls, well, now I can do as I did before. I can do the edit group, and maybe I would like to have them in some kind of horizontal way here instead. Now that didn't get the line properly, but that isn't that important. But so now I have them like this. It obviously was important for me, but anyway, if I now go to the next card, again, go to the next card, you see that when I arrive at card 2, they are placed in the same way. So background groups are really good for navigation stuff, and we will use that in our first project.